Alrighty, hello everybody. Welcome to the stream. It's been a fucking long time since I last streamed something, so yeah, hi. Right now I'm currently messing around in the development testing map with the 2020 engine. So before I start doing the system that I want to work on today, I can show you a little bit of the progress and how things are going with that. So I'm currently sitting in Engine 8 and Ladder 2 station. I've got the 2020 edition of Engine 8. At least the current progress version of it still needs to be finished, needs to be completed. Any idea when the test will be? Not yet. I still have to actually assemble the test together, and the instructors are currently sending me questions that they want to include on the test. I would hope to get it out within the next week to 2 weeks. Alright, so the changes of the 2020 engine, I've done some changes to the actual driving system itself. The turn signals are fixed, but the first thing that I have to do before I can show you that, is the battery switch. The battery switch is an entirely new system added onto the 2020 engines and will be added onto future trucks as well. So the battery system is essentially how the real-life trucks work, where you have to hit the battery switch before you can hit the ignition switch. The battery switch is simple. You click on it in the bottom here, and boom, it's on. Now, there's also a small little detail inside of the cab. You can't see it because of the weird shading of the inside of the station, so I will pull it out and show you that later on. But the changes to the turn signals are as follows, where if I hit the hazard lights, they will both come on in sync. If I switch from left and then to, if I switch from right and then to left, they'll actually alternate instead of double flashing like most of the cars currently in the game. So it's a lot of minor fixes like that just add so much to the truck itself and really emphasize the character of the truck. And thanks to Brian is now poor, all of the sound effects on this truck are from his videos that he sent to me from real life startup of Engine 88. Although I think Desired will have to hop out of the truck in order for me to be able to drive it, but we'll see. But anyway, now that the battery switch is on, if I can now turn on the headlights, not the headlights, the emergency lights. There we go. And the high beams are now keyed to the headlight key rather than the headlights. The headlights will come on automatically with the battery switch as they do in real life. I'm also working on adding some cab lights, so it's like the lights will come on when the doors are open and the battery switch is on. So still some work in progress with that. More interior design is needed, but overall the interior is also coming along pretty nicely. Anyway, the new sound effects. Oh, yes, we did. And also, when you turn off the engine, you turn off the motor of the truck, the sound is supposed to stop. So it actually will stop playing whatever it's doing. Because some of the older trucks don't have that. Of course, the officer seat controls are in the truck, so Jersey operators, I believe, is that Jersey or Brian? If Jersey, oh yeah, that's Brian up in front. If Jersey could not fling my truck, that'd be great. So Brian is currently up in front, and he's actually operating the sirens. I didn't hit any of the keys just now. So that's one of the things that I really like about our truck systems, is that having the officer seat switch is really handy for me as the driver. The new EQ sound is also on the truck. It's just the game being a little slow right now because of the truck spawning in currently. There's also the PA300 Yelp, which apparently is being introduced to a lot of the new siren boxes on the Fdny rigs in real life. And here's the battery switch right down there. You can see it's in the on position. It actually switches between. And I believe I added a feature so you can click on it. I'm not sure. I might have only done it through the GUI. So all the sounds that you hear besides the EQ sound were recorded by Brian for this truck. And this is also the rumbler siren, which sounds absolutely terrible as it does in real life. Dying cat. I'm still working on the back of the truck. As you can see, there's some diamond plating, Z fighting there, because I'm currently working on putting the bottom of the hose bed in, and then I'm going to start doing the racks for the hard and soft suction lines on the side of the truck. With the future lighting update that was added to the game, there's just so much enhancement to the overall lighting and aesthetic of the game. So these navigator light bars on the roof look very nice on the ground when they reflect the light. I'm also going to show you something that happens when the battery switch is turned off. The lights should come off and the siren should also go off. There might still be some issues with the siren right now, but that will be eventually fixed if there is. Like I said, this truck is still a work in progress. And I'm just trying to revamp the systems to make them more efficient, number one, and overall more realistic. So in order to hit the battery switch, you have to actually turn off the ignition. So let's do that. And then, boom. Everything shuts down. Nothing else can work. I'm going to hit the J key, and the light bar is not coming on. The same thing also applies for the turn signals. The turn signals obviously need to be connected to the battery. If the battery is disabled, then they don't have electricity to actually flash. So you have to have the battery on to actually use the functions of the truck. There's also the little clicking sound that was also from Brian's video. We also have the takedown bar on the roof, or on the brow. So some pretty nice features coming along. Once again, still huge work in progress. But overall, I'm pretty satisfied with the design, number one, of the cab, and number two, of the actual features and the scripting that I've been adding to the cab. Game audio not on stream. Ah, desktop audio is muted. Nice. Sorry. So here's the sounds again. Here we go. And hit the siren brake. That was Brian. Okay, I'm going to hit the battery switch off and hop out of the rig. So like I said, once again, with the battery switch being off, the interior lights will not come on. But I don't think I added a clicking feature to the... Yeah, I did not. So you have to be in the seat with the GUI in order to turn on the battery switch. Still a lot more work to go, but coming along pretty nicely. We got ladder 2 over here. Looking nice as always when it's in service. Alrighty, so other than that, there's been pretty minor changes to the game overall, but still some aesthetic-based changes. I'm not adding. I already added a plane that flies over the map and also has some audio effects of the actual plane motor. So you will hear it fly over the map every so often because there are a lot of airplane traffic lanes over or around the New York City area. Due to there being 3 large airports within the area, you have Newark Liberty International Airport in New Jersey, right across the river, LaGuardia, and JFK. So there is an airplane that will fly over the map every so often, and actually there it is. And you will hear it in the in-game audio if you just listen close enough, especially when it's right over the top of your head. So pretty fun. Nice little aesthetic changes like that actually add so much to the game. I mean, it's a pretty minute difference between there being a plane flying overhead and there not, but it just adds so much more immersion and depth to the game, having that there. You don't really notice it unless you're physically in here playing the game. Otherwise, there hasn't been too many changes to the map design itself. Everything's been relatively the way it is. I'm still waiting on building submissions from the development team and any community contributions. I have not really received anything substantial. So nothing has really changed as far as the map goes. It still looks nice, though. I will say that. Yeah, you can hear the plane now, flying overhead. We got ladder 2 hitting the roof over here. The tracking lights on the stick are up. You can see that. It's all lit up on the signboard. This looks very cool. There goes the plane overhead. It's about to cross in front of the moon if it gets there. Nah, it's gonna miss. That would have been really cool, the silhouette of the plane over the moon. Anyway, ladder 2 has got the stick up. Sadly, they're replacing the rear mount ladders moving forward with Seagrave rear mounts. So, New York said no to Ferrara. That's so sad. I was really hoping for some new things. Although, as far as I know, I think they discontinued the Ultra cab, which I'm very disappointed about. But they've also got a new one in the works, which looks very similar to a Spartan. It's not bad, to be honest. But it's sad. Alrighty. So that's pretty much the general synopsis of the changes that have been happening in the game. I've been doing some work on some minor GUI-based systems recently. That's really been my focus. especially because I'm working on SoNY as part of my final project for one of my classes in school. So it is a lot of fun to be able to work on SoNY as part of my school assignment, and it really is a nice break, especially because that class is the last class that I have on certain days. Have you installed Continental tires on any other pieces of? No, I have not. I have not put Manos tires on any of the other trucks yet. I don't think I'm really going to be. I'm not really going to be doing any changes to the older trucks unless I have to. I would say that my best bet is just to keep working on improving the new stuff, because the older trucks are probably going to get phased out pretty quickly anyway, or remodeled. So my focus hasn't really been too much on revamping these recently. It's more been updating the systems and the functions on the 2020 rig so that we can use that system moving forward. So Mano has done a little bit of mesh work that has gone into the rig, not too much. 95% of it is still part based, but just some minor things that are a little bit more complex to do when it comes to Roblox UGC parts, such as the tires. They really make a huge difference, and they're custom built by Mano is my name. And then these mirrors as well. I could do these out of parts if I wanted to, but since he offered, I said, you know what, fine. So that's really how it's going. I don't even want to know what's happening over there. Okay. Other than that, pretty proud. We've also have these side runner lights. That's the first truck that these have actually been added on. I've just sort of cut them out of every other truck. So now they're going to become a new standard on future apparatus that are built for SoNY. I think Poke is in college. Not yet. A couple more months and I will be. What's your favorite Fdny truck? I don't really have a personal preference. I mean, people have asked me this all the time, like, "Oh yeah, what's your favorite truck?" I don't really have a favorite. I don't pick favorites. I really love the design of Ferraras, but these 2020 Seagraves that are coming in are pretty bitchin' too. So, yeah, I don't have a specific, because honestly, I know that New York City usually picks good-looking trucks, because they don't go with the bullshit companies like Rosenbauer and all the cheapo ones. Poke is actually a college professor in computer programming. He has a doctorate. Damn. Being a college professor in programming, that's a whole hell in itself. They left the tracking lights on the ladder when they put it down. Nice. Let's see if we can get a daytime shot of the plane going overhead. I'm just not sure of if it's flying over in the area or not. I don't see it. I don't hear it either. So I would assume that it's pretty far away right now. Sad. Yeah, the new Empire State Building design, I did a lot of revamping to the roof. So the spire is just so much nicer. Look at this. Oh yes. I can't wait for this building to actually be completed, but I'm not really in in the mood to work on finishing this Empire State Building because of all the scripting assignments or tasks that need to get done, which even then I still don't really want to do the scripting tasks. But it's got to get done at some point or another. So I've also started sort of, in this design, I've sort of plotted out having the ability to add the observatory deck onto the Empire State Building. So this is essentially what that would look like. Or at least in terms of the view so far of what we have for the map. What the hell is using the cube? Probably ladder 2. So it's overall a pretty nice view from here. Once more the map goes out, so like this section has the highway, and now we have the river. Once this section goes out too, I think it would look even better. Oh, there's the ladder. Oh yeah, I almost forgot before Cookie reminded me. Thank you very much for that. So if you die in the game now, I've added a new thing that happens. So let me just reset. As I get run over by Battalion 8. Nice. Actually, that looked even cooler with the fire trucks in there. Anyway, yeah, if you die, it's the GTA style death screen. It's hilarious. Where's Nico Monty? Nico Monty got removed because Nico Monty was scripted inefficiently, which lagged the hell out of the game. I know there's definitely going to be a small gap before it happens. It's just Roblox. I can't really do a lot to fix that. But hey, at least it's working, because before you couldn't even spawn into the game when it wasn't working, so that was a problem. Anyway, that's finally up. And I don't know if I demoed the sound effects on the SCBA packs, but I recorded some sound effects at my firehouse. So now there's breeding effects. There's a click when you activate the flashlight. It's just really quiet, obviously, because even then you still don't notice it. So pretty neat stuff to add some more design. And if you are wearing your SCBA pack and you don't move for 30 seconds, you know exactly what happens. It's gonna start spazzing out and going crazy because you have not moved for 30 seconds. Chinatown rig is glitched. Why are you running engine 9 right now? Many other games now include what I believe are Roblox created mobile GUIs. Mobile GUIs. I'm not sure specifically as to what is being mentioned there. Times Square coming along thanks to Development TGCA's contribution of this building right here. To start mobile adaptation, as in ways to operate HSC vehicles on mobile. I'm not sure, but even still, I don't think I would like to see SoNY be available on mobile devices, because this is definitely a game that you would rather be playing on your PC. And people have asked constantly about, oh, when can you make it for Xbox? When will it be on Xbox? Well, here's the problem. Xbox has way too many damn restrictions on games, and it also removes the chat system as well. And for roleplay games, that's a killer restriction that kills the game. unless you have everybody in the Discord, which obviously not everybody's going to be in the Discord, so that creates a lot of issues. So I don't think SoNY would be on Xbox, and I don't think that it would be on mobile, just because mobile, you know, you're sitting there with a tiny phone trying to play this large scale game and also do proper roleplay functions. It's a lot to manage for somebody who's on a phone. I think it's just way more practical to run it on the computer. Oh yeah, video billboards are pretty cool. They add a lot. TGCA made them. Actually, no, I did the actual billboard designs. He just left them blank for me. So now we have the DNN one over here too. That actually wraps around. I tried to do a video billboard on this edge that actually wraps around, and it looked really cool, but the problem is the two different sides get out of sync with each other, and then it sort of ruined the effect. But this building is also based off of an actual section of Times Square, so if you want to go on Google Maps right now, you will see this. It's pretty amazing how Development TGCA managed to recreate this building onto a Roblox edition of it. The amount of detail, while still being an organized building in terms of its design and how it's laid out in the studio side, is insane. And it's actually two of his buildings right back to back right here. So this one was also built by him. So this is SoNY right now. That's how it's going. I'm just a little sort of disappointed within myself that it's almost 3 years in and the map only looks like this. But I am also hopeful that the summer will bring progress, since more people will be able to be active and contribute and have more time to work on projects. And we'll also get the Fdny started. We're finishing up an academy class right now because we're just saying fuck it and having them taking a test to see what they know. And if they know enough, we'll give them the ability to become probationary firefighters and continue to train them from there. But at least then we can get the department started and have more help so that more future classes will be able to be trained much faster. And that we can get the department to be sort of self-operational, where I can pull back on my involvement and actually let the lower star chiefs and any incoming captains and lieutenants that would come actually run the department, which I would be very hopeful to see. And then we would be able to have actual shifts, as in tours, where people would come on, go to a station, and actually respond to calls like an organized company. I would really love to see that. So we're trying our best right now to get that done with, because it's just been way too long. When we opened the Class 1 applications back in July 20th of 2020, and now it's almost been a whole year. So that we're in late May coming into June. So at that point, it's just been way too long. So we're going to get this process moving. We're going to start speeding it up. And we might run into issues due to that, which I'm worried about. But I have confidence in the people who are currently in the academy who have shown the effort and put it in, that they know what they are doing and they're willing to learn from mistakes that they might make, and that they're also going to present themselves in a professional manner and do the proper roleplay procedures to really accomplish the goal that we've been trying to get for SoNY, where we can be a realistic roleplay based game. At a bench outside of the store so the boys can wait for their girlfriends to be finished. Nice. Actually, somebody still has to redesign Will's bench at Central Park. I just love seeing the sun come through the buildings like that. It's so nice. Also, some people have been asking for street directions and names of streets. Look at the traffic light posts. If we've already determined what street that area is going to have, it already has a sign on it, and it also tells you what direction that the traffic is supposed to go. So yeah, look at the street light posts if you want to know which way you're allowed to go. And as well is, if you don't know where you are, just press the N, letter N, as in November. And I'm being kidnapped in a pickup truck. That's not going to happen. Letter N is in November. And then you get your phone GUI. Click on the home screen to open the phone. And then there's a map. You have a map so you can tell where exactly in the current SoNY map that you are. And this is pretty accurate. This is the exact corner that I'm standing on right now. And you can see in detail, even as I cross the street here, it's pretty much recognizing exactly where I am. And it also tells you where the NYPD stations are with these blue markers, and the FDNY stations are labeled in red markers over here. So you'll see a couple of those scattered throughout the map if you just look close enough. And if you are not able to jump in the game, like to get out of a car, you're probably out of stamina. So go to your phone GUI and then go to the heart icon in the top left corner. Right? And then it's a stamina bar. Now, every time that you jump, it takes away 30 stamina points. So you have to have at least 30 stamina points in order to be able to jump, unless you become out of breath, where you go under 10, in which case you'll have to wait for it to recharge to at least 50. But you can also shift to run, and that will drain your stamina as you're running. A lot of New Yorkers are out of shape, so your stamina runs out pretty quickly. A lot of Americans in general are just out of shape. Partially including myself, but you know. So the oxygen system is not functioning yet, and that's part of what I wanted to get working on during this stream after demoing some of the map. The oxygen system is essentially, if you're standing in a smoking environment, right? So if you're a civilian and you're just walking around, a lot of the times I've seen it in Mano County way too often, they just walk into the fire or walk into the building that is currently on fire. And I'm not really going to let that slide here. You're actually going to have some repercussions for doing that. So what I'm hoping is that if you walk into a smoky environment inside of a building or in any area where there might be a lot of smoke present, your oxygen meter will deplete. Your oxygen meter will deplete and will go down, and as the oxygen meter goes down, and as it gets to 0, your health will then start taking damage because you are suffocating from smoke inhalation. And I'm also planning on adding a fire damage system, which is what I want to begin working on during the stream, where if you are touching a block that is on fire, it will cause damage to your player. How can Poke be out of shape when he cruises to the station on his bike? Well, I also started driving when I got my license, so now I don't have to worry about pedaling my ass to the station every time we get a call. Especially in the cold and the rain and the wind. That was annoying. There was one day where it was so windy I couldn't even pedal forward because the wind was just pushing back way too much, or it wouldn't even let me move. I tried running to the station and still missed the truck. Where is Trump Tower? Well, we haven't built it yet. I've mentioned it several times, but nobody on the dev team has put in for that project. "2020 Engine 8 coming along." Oh shit, I forgot there's no back seats. Damn it. Interior is still in progress. Alright, go get him, Engine 8. Go get him, Engine 8. You got Engine 54? Why, yes we do. I'm gonna cheat my way there by resetting myself. Oh yes. Battalion 9 still needs to be textured, but I'm also replacing the model with an updated version of it, since the person who originally made it re-imported the mesh. I don't know why, but 54 is like sunken into the ground right now. Let's fix that. There we go, that looks better. So this truck is a little bit older, so the cab design isn't great compared to that over there, the Engine 8. Engine 65, yes, we do have that station. Right there. It's not the most detailed version, in my opinion, but you definitely see the resemblance. Oh god, what the fuck? Sometimes the spawners do that, but at least you can respawn it and fix the issue. There we go. Gotta move Engine 8 out of the way. Dippity Nico jumped in the truck, so now it's not gonna let me. It's not gonna let me move it. Alright, but anyway, yep, 65 is in the game. Oh god, what the fuck? So yeah, this truck is a little bit older. The cab was originally built back in 2018, so there's definitely a lot of improvement that is needed on these particular trucks, which is sort of what I'm trying to work on for the 2020. The 2020 rig over there is really improving a lot of the detail elements of the design. Alright, with all of that out of the way, I think it's time that I actually get to work on what I've started the stream for in the first place. And that is the fire damage system. So I'm actually going to be doing some scripting. So we'll see how that goes, because you guys actually get to see the pain that comes along with actually making systems like this work. So anyway, the system in question is going to be relatively simple. The player touches a block that is on fire, and they take damage from it. Easy peasy. There's probably some dev form stuff on that, so I'm definitely going to be looking at that, just to speed up the process, so we can get a new system into the game. Anyway, let me transfer over. Hi, welcome to the MDT testing place. This is where I actually originally built the MDT and do a lot of other development testing. So, what the fuck is this? Oh, it's the Monty, that's the car fire. Yee. We've actually got a riding positions board, so you can click on it to put your name on a certain position. So once we get the designs for all of the riding boards of the stations that we have in the game, we can make that function so you can actually write your name down in the position that you are going to be for the day. So that will help out with organization a lot. Mets or Yankees? Yankees, of course. Bronx Bombers. Alright, so one of the things that I've also... When you're gonna give stuff away again? I'm not sure. Where's the middle finger emoji again? Nice. Sorry to the Mets fans in here. Don't worry. I've got one of my best friends is a really big Mets fan. At least his family is. So there's a good balance of us around here. But we all still get along. Anyway, one of the things that I've also worked on for the SCBA pack that is not currently in the game because of the systems that I want to work on today is the air gauge. There's actually going to be a gauge and a limit as to how much air you have on your tank. And one of the other problems about this is that I also have to add a way to refill the gauge on your tank. So I would also have to do some modifications to the fire trucks themselves to add the ability to click on a certain spot to be able to refill your tank. For the 2020 engine, I'm actually going to be designing the air cylinder compartments just above the wheel wells on the rear side of the truck, so that way you can open those and physically click on a bottle to refill your pack. That would essentially be like taking it out and switching it out in your pack. Portable radio, yeah, I gotta design the radio strap and do all that. That's not in yet. That's not a design, or it needs to be designed. Alright, so let's put on the SCBA pack, and you will see what I'm talking about. So obviously we have the sound effects that I mentioned earlier, but when we put on our mask, it will actually let us know how much air that we have left in the bottle. And as time goes on, this will continue to go down towards 0, and you will have to refill it. I think there's about 1,200 seconds of air, so you have a good amount of working room. It's not going to run out as quickly as it does in Emergent YC. So this is assuming that we are actually working with highly trained firefighters who have taken classes and training to control their air and maintain a longer duration of use with the bottle. Mind you that these are also 60-minute bottles, so they have a larger volume of air that they hold. That's New York City. That's what happens. So with 60-minute bottles, you'll get 20 minutes of good use out of them when you're actually working in a fire, approximately. So that's essentially what I have tried to replicate here. Now, as you can see, the arrow has went down from the full position to in between 4,000 psi and 4,500 psi. Add a ring ting spinny thing to engine 8. What the fuck are you... what? Also, if you notice, when I put on the mask, the first breath is different than the rest. This is an actual thing of when the air gauge in the regulator actually opens up and air begins to flow through the mask. All the rest of the breaths that follow will be the same. So that's one of the things that I've worked on. Make it so when you sprint, you deplete air faster. That's interesting, actually. Let me add that to the Trello. Oh, shit. I checked Trello, and then the pass alarm starts going off. It'd be cool if it was an actual round air gauge. So, yeah, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the one that would actually be on the front side, but I actually based the design of the gauge here off of the one on the bottle itself. Just because I feel like that's more practical for scripting, number one, and number two, it's a lot easier to put on the screen and be able to read. It notifies you somewhere on your screen or makes a sound. Yes, Vibra Alert sound. That does exist. When you are low on air, your pack's Vibra Alert will actually go off. So I could add the air meter like that, or I could do more of the inside of the mask. If you notice that the inside of the regulator has lights that tell you the status of the pack and how much air is left in the bottle. So I could add something like that too. So, we'll see. But for now, I really like the bottle gauge. I really like the design, because I've seen this hundreds of times. This essentially my job as a junior fireman in my company is managing the bottle pressures and making sure that all the bottles are filled and checked. So anytime that it drops under 4,000, it's typically when you should absolutely fill it, because you can get away with that small difference of if it's not, the bottle might not read properly, so that usually happens. But if it goes under 40, definitely needs to be filled. I asked my friend, can I make his truck custom for fire department? He said yes. What? What? Okay, so let's get into it. Add a system where you need to Okay, I would say add a system where you need to set the pressure in game to the correct pressure. Well, you don't set the pressure on the bottles to the correct pressure, because you usually do that when you fill them, but you would fill them in the station. Unless you're talking about hose lines, in which case I have considered making the players have to control the pressure and the flow of their lines, but that would just be way too complicated for Roblox, number one, and number two, it would be way too difficult for people to actually do properly. So I'm not really worried about that. So I don't think we're gonna add that. Alrighty, so how will we start? Well, the first thing that I'm going to need is a part. And we're going to set this part on fire. So fire. There we go. And some smoke. Add some more rise velocity so it goes up. There we go. Arson. Alright, so in order for us to not have to do as much work, I'm going to be referencing the developer form to get some more information. Character triggered collisions. This will give us the basic script that we will need to start, and then we can make our modifications to make it work the way that we want it. Now the thing is, though, is that I would really like to add this to the player itself, so that way it's more universal and I don't have to make a million of the same scripts in all the different blocks. Put the size at 35, says Brian. Size 35. There we go. We got a large-scale fire. Obviously, we need more smoke to match. There we go. Alright, so obviously we run into a problem where the spread of the fire is larger than the size of the block, but we're going to have to work with that. We're just going to have to make it so that way if the player touches the block that they take damage, because we can't... There's no physical collision on the fire itself, only the block that the fire has. Only the block that the fire is under. Okay, there we go, Brian. I made your fire smaller. Alright. So, how do I want to set this up? Because, like I said, I would really rather it be under the player, so if the player comes in contact with a block that is on fire, it does damage. I'm just not sure, should I do it locally or should I do it on the global side? And I'm being pinged on Discord. Why? Anytime that I stream, people are like, oh yeah, seems like a good time to start pinging me. My god. Okay. So I wonder if I put it in starter character scripts. If I put it in starter character scripts, what would happen? I tried using a touched event. Touch doesn't fire if the player is standing still. Well, that's interesting. Okay, so I'm just curious on if we can, or if we should, even, because then it would have to fire every single time the player touches any block in the game. And that would cause lag. And we don't want that. Well, at least for now, we're going to start by putting a script underneath the fire block. If we want to change it later, I'm sure that we can, and we'll find a way how to do that. But at least for now, we're going to get started. I'm going to do a server script for testing purposes. Okay, so this is the script from the developer form. It's just a basic touch function. So now we're going to modify it to make the changes that we need. Okay, so if the block touches a humanoid, then it will kill the humanoid. Obviously, we don't want this to happen. So, if the block touches a humanoid, and if the script.parent.fire.enabled, then humanoid.health equals humanoid.health minus, let's just do 5 for now and see what happens. And end. Now, I'm pretty sure that this is going to only fire once unless I keep repeatedly moving around. Obviously, if the player is standing still while touching the fire block, we need to keep on taking away damage until they are not touching the fire block anymore. So, just for testing's sake, I'm going to leave it like this, and we're going to run a test. Because if it doesn't happen, then we are good to go. And our script would already be done. And then the next thing that I would work on is removing the player's oxygen meter, which I'd still need to figure out where that variable was placed according to the way that we have it set up now. Alright, play here. Let's run a test. Eventually I want to get rid of the beeping that happens at the start, because that's the pack model being removed from being visible, because I have to make it visible in order to actually develop on it, so I might need to invisible it when it's not being worked on. Alright, let's see what happens. Just as I thought. Oh wait, no. It's going. That's interesting. Okay. So it still recognizes the part is being touched, but unfortunately I don't know if it's as smooth as I would like it to be. Let me know what you guys think in the stream chat. Although I think it depletes the health at a good rate, I just don't feel like it does it as smoothly as I would like. Okay, what about when the touch is ended? So here's what I'm thinking. I add a variable that gets set so when the touch of the part has began, obviously I don't need this anymore, it's at the top of the script. So I'm thinking is, yeah, I add some sort of variable here that recognizes that the player is no longer touching the block, and then sets a variable to false that would end a loop somewhere in here. I don't think this will work if I add a while loop here, because then it would keep repeating, but it would never actually allow the function ended to be fired. But we will see. So while touch by player equals true, if the block is on fire, I need to add the do statement and a double equals to represent equal to true. Actually, no, we can just do that. That works perfectly fine. Well, obviously, I still need to establish the variable first. Let me get rid of this and fix up the spacing on the script. There we go. And we need a await statement, so that way it doesn't infinitely loop on itself and break the program. So, touched by player, where am I going to establish this variable? Probably as a global variable, considering that it will need to be used by both functions. Touched by player equals false. So if it's a humanoid, then touched by player equals true. And while it's true, keep taking away their damage, or keep taking away their health meter. And then this should fire when it is not being touched anymore by a player. I want to check to make sure it's the part that's ended the touch is a humanoid, but how would I recognize that? I might be able to do this. I have no idea if this will work. In theory, it should. Just to recognize that it's actually being a player that's not being collided with anymore. For the reason being that it could be like a random part that touches it, like a car or something, and then it would start trying to take away damage from a humanoid that didn't even touch it. So obviously we don't want that. Let's see how this goes. I'm probably going to have to add some print statements so we can figure out where in the script everything is happening. But we will see. Oh, wow. No fucking way. Yeah, that's a lot smoother now. That's actually draining the health bar properly. Now we're letting it automatically recharge. And it's dead. Now, I'm going to make a small adjustment. Go onto the server, select this part, and turn off the fire and see what happens. There we go. No damage, let's go! Alrighty. So that system is now a thing. I just don't like that it's underneath the block. I would rather have it be in the player, so the player, when it touches a block, would check to see if it's on fire, but then you'd touch so many blocks as you move throughout the game, and it would constantly run that check and just lag the fuck out of the game. So it's a little bit excessive. So I guess we're going to have to work with this. So I like to put the date of modification on my scripts, so that way I can tell the difference between versions that might be a couple minutes apart. It does help. Okay, so I'm going to save this script to my computer, because for whatever reason, Roblox has not been allowing me to run more than one team create on my computer at the same time, and it's really pissing me off. So, because I have to work on one team create to actually make the feature and test it efficiently, rather than repeatedly loading into the game, the SoNY game all the time to try and test that, which takes way too long to repeatedly do that just to test one small change. I do it in separate team creates. But yeah, for whatever reason, Roblox won't let me open two. So I'll save this to my computer and implement it into the SoNY map, and we can do some full-scale testing later on. Unfortunately, loading into the SoNY map just takes way too long on my computer for some reason. I mean, I have a lot of Google tabs open for various school assignments and Roblox research for development projects, so that is part of the slowdown. But anyway, I'll download that to my computer, and we have a fire damage system. So now, don't walk into buildings that are on fire, even though you shouldn't have been in the first place, but now there's an actual penalty for doing so. So, simple, easy, quick script. As for the hose system, I cannot say the same. So here's the riding position board, like I said. It's got my name in it right now, so when I click on it, it will remove my name. And then when I click a blank sheet, it will put my name there. So now I'm on the irons, even though I have a hook and a water can, so that's great. But anyway, that is all set. The air tank system, I have to check some things in the game before I can work on that to deplete oxygen from the player. However, that would be in an update to the fire damage script to locate where their oxygen value is stored and then start depleting some amount from that value. But then it would also have to regenerate when the player is no longer in contact with something that will remove their oxygen or deplete their oxygen meter. So those are some of the things that we have to consider for that system. But otherwise, the fire damage system is done because the health will automatically regenerate when none is being taken away. The only thing I'll have to do I'll just have to make a new system, essentially, to do the same for the oxygen. Other than that, that is pretty much it for that system. Also, don't forget Among Us is free on the Epic Game Store. We should play that on a stream sometime. I think it would just be hilarious. We've done it. We've done the Roblox edition of it, and had a lot of fun. Amogus. SoNY sus. Alright, I'm gonna make sure that this is published so that way it's saved. I know that you can just save it, but I just like to publish anyway. And I will try to open up the Team Create. But it will take some time. So now I'm going to add the script to all of the blocks that are actually set on fire for various calls throughout the city in the game. And we're going to see if they would actually cause you to take damage. Now, I think there will be some changes, so that way you take less damage when you're in bunker gear, but you'll still need to take some damage as well, because bunker gear is not fireproof, only fire resistive. So it does not actually prevent you from getting burns or from getting injured while in a fire condition. So I might do another check into that script and make that modification where it checks to see if the player has the ID for the bunker gear, the jacket, and the pants. And it has to be both at the same time because one or the other will not suffice. So now I'm publishing the save for the studio now after replacing the scripts, or actually adding the scripts in the first place. So once this is published, I can actually go into the development map and run a test to see if these scripts will actually cause the players to take damage when they are contacting a block that is on fire. Hi, love the game. Thank you, Nathan. Alright, game is loading. Also, the loading screen goes faster now, because before it had to finish through the whole image cycle before it would actually load you into the game so you can see it. But this also means that you load faster into the game, which means the game might not be fully loaded when you actually load in with the loading screen. So that's part of why I like the extension on the loading screen time. But this works fine for the most part. Alright, Brian is in the game. I'll assume that he just joined, because if he joined before, then that would be a problem. Okay, so let's set something on fire. In the game, of course. Never in real life. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. You know what? Fuck it. Tell you what. Let's head over to rescue and just run the rescue just for shits and giggles. Wait, no, 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 no. Yeah, fuck it. I was gonna say that we should go to squad because squad has the deck gun, but even then you can't really do interior ops with the deck gun. So watch, I'm gonna get the car fire first when I run this call. Oh no, we got the fire on the first floor. Okay. Let me put myself as rescue. We are available. I don't know why, but sometimes the A chassis does this thing where it takes a second before it will actually let me drive. And wait, I think one of the wheels is fucked. Anyway, so let me hop out of the truck and respawn it. There we go. I hit the button. Oh, there's Brian out there. Brian with the Rescue 3 helmet on. Hell yeah, brothers. Yeah, I'm not sure why it does that. It's so confusing. There we go. We can drive. Me and Brian tried to switch to the Q siren button at the same time, and it ended up switching back to EQ. A little bit of lag right now. Still not as bad as my PC's performance in Emerge NYC, so that's always a plus. Oh shit, I think we passed it. Fuck. Wait, no, MDT. No, we're still good. We're still good. This is on the south side. This is on the south side of the map. F for eardrums, okay. F in the chat for your eardrums. Damn, Brian's holding that EQ right now. Get some. Yeah, here it is. Oh, fuck. Tower 1. Just to rub it in my face that there's a fucking tower ladder on the call. Nice. Nice. Alright, let's give it a test. Let's see if we take damage when we touch the fire. It's like some fucking caveman testing. Let's see if the fire hurts us when we touch it. Yeah, it fucking does. Okay. Wow. That is the most unfortunate death that has ever happened in the history of SoNY. That was very sad. Also, I was looking at the top corner to see if there was a health bar that would appear. Then I realized, yeah, it doesn't display unless you're looking at the phone system. I should have been looking at that as an indicator as well to my health dropping. So I thought nothing was happening. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, that happened. We lost 2 firemen. In memory. Never forget. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. The fire damage goes pretty quickly. Jesus. Yeah, so don't touch fire in the game anymore. That's a severe hazard. The fire hurts you now. Well, this is great. I'm gonna bring Jersey out of the stairs. That is a smart decision. The only problem is, with this particular fire, you're going to be touching the fire in the process of trying to put it out, just because of the lack of working room that you have. I believe they do go up much faster with CAN. Yes, I fixed it. You're welcome, Jersey. I listened to suggestions. That's Brian messing with the sirens on the tower ladder. Well, my health still has yet to recover, so the regen process is extremely slow, which honestly I'm okay with. So I'm okay with the regen being very slow because then you have more risks when it comes to your health being depleted from fire damage, where you might get hit by somebody, as in like maybe with a weapon or something in the future. So yeah, that would not be fun for whoever. DNN Live, Deputy Nico says as he's about to walk into the fire. DNN Live, man dies in fire. Oh no. Let's get a close catch. Ladies and gentlemen, this just in, Deputy Nico has perished on the stairwell of a single-story structure fire in a high-rise building. Fire crews were not able to get him out as he walked into the fire and essentially committed a suicide. Well, we know the system works, so that's always a plus. I'm not driving the tower ladder. Fuck that shit. No, my truck broke. No, the wheels. Are you in a private server? Yeah, we're in the development server. This is where all the changes that are happening to the game actually get tested. So unfortunately for you guys, we are not in the main game, so you cannot test this with us, at least until the update comes out, which usually happens either monthly or bi-monthly. So every 1 to 2 months, you usually get an update. Although the last one we had, I think, was in early March, so we haven't had a big update. No, my tires. The truck doesn't want to drive. Why does A Chassis have to do this to me? I don't understand. Alright, let's get out of the truck. And I'm just going to reset myself. So that way I don't have to ride in the tower ladder. How do we need to join the Fdny? You have to wait for applications into the Fire Academy to be released, which should happen sometime maybe in July. So June would give us enough time to get everybody through the probationary phase who is going into the department from Class 1. And then give us enough time to set up so that way we can make changes to our guidelines and things like that before Class 2. I don't want to start Class 2 until our guidelines and everything is completely finished, so that way we don't have so much of a holdup like we did with Class 1. So that way we can get anybody into the academy and then actually have them finish the academy in a timely fashion. gonna head over to squad. You maked this game in the Beijing, so do you have any advice for someone that wanna make a NYC game? Well, if you want to make a New York City game, it's a very long and tedious process, so don't expect New York City to be built in a day, because Rome wasn't built in a day. And New York City is a far more complicated version of Rome. Anyway, it's not an easy process, especially for starting from the ground up. You have to have a lot of help. You also have to have a pretty good community that supports the progress of the build. I'm very lucky to have what I have. Not everybody gets that. Not everybody has a community like SoNY where everybody's behind me with a lot of the progress that I do. I've seen some other New York City games that really struggle to get off the ground because of that aspect. As well as having a good group of people when it comes to references and having access to those references. Brian has been an extremely... and Brian and Fdny Ladder 120 have been extremely helpful individuals in the process of trying to make this game. You really have to have those guys too. You have to have those people that are in the city that can get you help and have a good understanding of the department in areas where you might not. Obviously, I don't know everything. Nobody really knows everything, so I asked others for help. So I just got to have the right crew that will actually give the help that I asked for. And I'm very lucky that I do. I don't know why, but OBS was recording during the stream, so now I'm going to probably have like an hour and 40 minutes worth of video on my computer, taking up a lot of space. So I'll have to manage that if that's the case. Probably increases the amount of lag on my computer's end. Can you say hi to me? Hi, Nathan. Oh yeah, I gotta get a method or something on OBS that I can display what you guys are saying in the chat on the actual stream, so that way when the replay goes onto YouTube, people can actually see the chat and see sort of what context is happening in the chat. Because sometimes I don't always repeat back the messages, so you don't know the context of the chat. And sort of what people are saying that leads me to a certain response. We're gonna water the grass. Hi, I'm new here. What is this game? It looks cool. This game is SoNY State of New York, and I believe there should be some more information in the description. There should be some more information in the description for Discord links and the link to the group, which has the link to the game on the homepage of the group. DNN employee 6363 saved me. Nice. This seems like a dumb idea, but will there be actual real traffic? Well, AI traffic is like trying to design an AI it's like trying to design a self-driving car. Humanity has not yet accomplished that in full scale yet. So doing so on Roblox would be incredibly difficult because you would have to worry about the AI also interacting with real players and the real players attempting to break the AI's chain of cycle as to what exactly they are doing. So it would have to be self-adjusting. The problem that we run into is just the complexity that it would be to get the AI to function and drive on the roadways while being aware of their surroundings and learning to adapt with sudden changes in their path or trajectory in which they are taking, due to interactions between real players and other events that happen in the game, such as fire trucks obstructing traffic. So, unfortunately, I don't really think there's a way that we could efficiently add a AI traffic system into the game without killing everything. So, the only thing that I can do in that aspect is just increase the amount of players that can play the game at one time to make the city feel more lifelike and more populated. Hmm. Interesting. The truck looks nice and clean. I've been trying to make Fdny trucks with the tutorials you posted. Do they work for any truck? Of course they work for any truck. Just depends on what you're building, essentially, is the amount of difficulty that you'll have in trying to actually make it. For example, ALF cabs or like a Pierce Quantum are going to be more complex to actually build due to the irregular shapes that they have on their front. Whereas the Seagrave and the Ferrara Ultra cab are much easier to design because they have a standard boxy style front with very minimal sort of curvature along the top-down side of the truck, essentially. So from this view, there's not a lot of curves. It's much easier to do, you know, sort of the high-rise cab style here, where it goes up towards the rear, but then you have a flat front with only just curves on the sides. Ooh, he's stealing. Deputy Nico's stealing lug nuts off the truck. So, overall, that's pretty much all I have for today's stream. There hasn't really been too much going on recently. And I'm just waiting on the school year to finish. I have plenty of missed assignments for my pre-calculus class that I just really don't want to do. So I should be doing those. I should be doing those right now, but I'm here developing on Roblox regardless. So that is pretty much all I have for now. If you're not in the Discord for SoNY or the YouTube Discord, go ahead and check those out. You should be able to find the links in the description, either on this stream or one of my other videos recently. I'm sure they're there. And if they're not, feel free to let me know. If you are in the Discord and you just noticed that, then be sure to advise, and I can make some changes if needed. But anyway, that is pretty much it. Let's see if we can spot the plane. Should be... Yep, there it is. In the background. Will 10 House be added? Yes, 10 House is in the plans, but we just need to actually build the lower Manhattan section of the game in order for that to be a reality. I have built the 10 House before in a previous version of the SoNY map that was eventually scrapped. And I was pretty satisfied with it, but there were still some minor things that needed adjustment, mistakes that I did while building it that I didn't realize until after I completed it, so it just stuck. But this time I'm going to try my best to not let that happen again, and try and build it much better than it was. Oh yeah, another feature on the trucks here is if you turn down the takedown light, you can actually rotate this around towards the different sides. It's a swivel light. Alright, let's head back to the quarters. How did you do your opening doors? Well, essentially it's a motor between two parts that holds the door onto the truck. So the motor connects the two, essentially acting like the hinge on the door, and allows it to open and close by setting the motor to a certain variable as to how it rotates. No, I have not done that on stream. I don't think I've actually done a tutorial on that, although I don't know if I will, for opening and closing doors. But what I just said is essentially the lowdown. Relatively simple in terms of its design, just I think the scripting is slightly annoying for somebody who might not have too much experience in Roblox scripting. So if you're one of the people that doesn't have a lot of Roblox scripting experience, the opening and closing doors might be a little bit more on the complex side for you. But for those of you with some experience, it should, if you know the dev form, it should be able to give you all the directions on how to actually use the motor to be able to make the doors function. The only annoying thing is just trying to get it to work with your chassis. Trying to get the doors to stay on the truck. Otherwise they just fall off, and that's annoying. Alright, so anyway, that is pretty much it. Alrighty guys, so I think I'm going to end the stream here. If you enjoyed it, be sure to check out some of my other videos on the channel, and consider hitting the subscribe button. We are very close to being on track to 2,000 subscribers and being eligible for monetization with 4,000 watch hours within the past 12 months. So, thank you all so much for your continued support. I genuinely, greatly appreciate every single one of you. But, with all of that out of the way, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye. As I lose my internet to the game. Nice. The timing. Anyway, see you around.